All-Star game was moved out of Atlanta in 21 because of a law that former President Biden described as Jim Crow in the 21st century, and it was framed as a protest. Dave, in the 2021 MLB Network special on Stop Asian Hate, you said, and I quote, "I think it's just being relentless with our voices. This is not something that's just an isolated moment in time that we're talking about. It's something that needs to be talked about on an ongoing basis and be relentless with it." What happened to being relentless with it, and why are we still in Atlanta when this is on books?
You want to sum that up for me?
It was hard to understand. We were actually talking about that. Can you re-say what you said there?
It is rare to see Pat McAfee fumble so badly, yet here he is doing just that.
There is a law on the books here in Atlanta that is a voter suppression law that Joe Biden has called Jim Crow of the 21st century. Dave, in 2021, in the MLB Network special, you said it's about being relentless with our voices and speaking up, and this is not an isolated moment, and it needs to be something talked about on an ongoing basis and being relentless with it. What happened to being relentless with our voices, and why are we in Atlanta when this law is still on the books? And it is a dangerous situation to be a journalist in Atlanta because Atlanta has detained the most journalists by ICE.
I believe the question was a political question about laws that are on the books and everything like that. And the All-Star game was taken out, and now it's brought back. Interesting. I don't know if any of us are the experts or the ones that should be giving answers on that, but respect and appreciate the way you feel about it. And I would assume that there was a reason or some conversation that was had by the MLB and the state that all parties thought that this would be a wonderful host city for the All-Star game. And I think everybody is all very excited to be back in the beautiful city of Atlanta.
I think Pat answered it perfect. And honestly, I appreciate the question. I appreciate your thoughts. I do feel that I'm excited to be here. I think that it's a great city. I think baseball fans are excited to be here and celebrate these great athletes. I'm not a politician. I do feel that everyone has their right to voice thoughts, but right now I really choose to just focus on the players in the game and be excited to be here. And for me, to be able to manage these guys and to manage against these guys, I'm honored.
What cowardice from everyone on that stage, including McAfee and Dave Roberts. One should remember.
Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred announcing that the league is taking the 2021 All-Star Game away from Atlanta. The move comes in response to new voter laws passed in the state of Georgia. The new law adds guidelines around mail-in ballots, voter registration, and provides state officials more authority around how elections are operated. Now, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed the changes into law on March 25th. Critics say the law will suppress votes, especially among people of color in underserved areas. Here's the statement from the Major League Baseball Commissioner. "I have decided that the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating this year's All-Star Game and the draft. MLB fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions to the ballot box."
Major League Baseball has always been a social institution, and there are times where baseball steps up for the values of the game and for the people. And certainly they felt that this was extremely important to not have restrictions at the ballot box.
As it pertains to that bill, some of these draconian changes to the electorate in Georgia as passed by Republicans in the state are the following. Voters have less time to request absentee ballots, strict new ID requirements for absentee. It's illegal for an election official to mail absentee ballot applications, limitation of drop boxes in the state. Mobile voting centers are now banned. Early voting is limited in more populous counties. A misdemeanor charge can be handed down for handing out food or water. Even longer wait times. An election hotline for voter fraud, a nod to Trumpism. And via the Times, the Republican-controlled legislature has more control over the state election board. The GOP-led legislature is empowered to suspend county election officials, and runoff elections will happen faster and could become harder to manage. In effect, because of Major League Baseball's decision, Senator Rafael Ted Cruz of Texas and Utah Senator Mike Lee would threaten to end Major League Baseball's antitrust immunity on Twitter. At the time, ESPN's Howard Bryant a coveted sports journalist and author, put it all in perspective.
It's important for us to remember that Major League Baseball did what was best for Major League Baseball. And for me, this is one of those examples of where doing the right thing and doing what was right for business happened to align. But I don't think the two had to align. It's got nothing to do with black people. It has to do with baseball not wanting to be associated with an insurrection. Let's stay on target here. You know how many baseball decisions would be different if caring about black people were the first priority? I mean, this is something that they were like, we don't need the grief, man.
In addition, more than 170 companies would condemn this bill. Thus, when the game was pulled, Los Angeles Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said, "I support it. I'm not completely versed on everything, but my takeaway from the bill was essentially that its effect is to suppress voting for people of color." And with that, that's something that I fundamentally and intrinsically disagree with. So for the commissioner to kind of do his due diligence in baseball, outside of baseball, players, front office, and ultimately a decision to remove the All-Star game and the draft out of the state of Georgia, I support. How the times change.
One of the greatest managers of the really ever to wear the Dodger blue, Dave Roberts. What a time he's had.
Thank you, sir.
That's great. What a job. I think he would have lasted even with George Steinbrenner, right? I love George, but he was very quick.
As Los Angeles took on Donald Trump's Gestapo, Roberts cowered. Yahoo Sports' Jay Busby wrote in his column, "All of baseball, consciously or unconsciously, has moved on from 2021 and the voting bill controversy. Manfred has apparently not made a public statement on his decision to move the All-Star game since announcing at the 2023 owners' meetings that the All-Star game would return to Atlanta this year, rather Cobb County. When he made that announcement, Manfred simply sidestepped the voting issue, instead focusing on the Atlanta Braves organization." Speaking of the commissioner, he met with Trump 3 months into the Republican president's second term via Chelsea Janes, and in March, after Trump issued an executive order threatening federal action against organizations with diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, Major League Baseball removed all references to diversity from its career's homepage on its official website. Janes would add, 4 years ago, civil rights did qualify as outcome determinant for Rob Manfred, at least to the extent that he did not want his players to have to worry about protesting for them. But while Georgia voting laws have not changed since, the political climate has, and Manfred seems to be steering his sport away from anything that might earn him side-eye from the current MAGA administration. And a few people in the sport have pushed back against that approach. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/tytsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.